Blog Talk Radio.
Hello and welcome back to the ShoreBall podcast show. You're back with your host, Mike Lee. And tonight, I have two special guests on the line with me. I got Will, better known as Duke of the NBA, and his co-host, Lawrence. Welcome to both of you guys. Glad to have you guys on.
Oh, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no doubt. I've had the opportunity to check out some of Will's videos. Definitely, like what he was talking about. Wanted to extend the invitation to have you guys on, and I know it took a little minute for us to kind of coordinate our schedules, but like I said, I'm glad to have both of you guys on, and we'll jump right into some playoff conversation tonight. Of course, tonight there were two games on the schedule. Kicked off with Game 3 in the New York-Miami series. Miami ended up winning that game by a score of 87-70. Led in scoring by LeBron James. I think he had about 32. Dwyane chipped in with, not quite sure his numbers, but right about 20 points a game, 20 points tonight. And then second game of tonight's schedule, you have Oklahoma City and the Dallas Mavericks. Oklahoma City's currently in the lead, 50-41 in that game. So we'll go ahead and just start with, conversation on tonight's games. What do you guys think?
Well, I like to say first that when as a Knicks fan, I've always said that I'd rather play Chicago Bulls only because I felt that the Knicks' current roster could match up better with the Bulls, and I felt like playing the Miami Heat is the worst matchup. I've been saying that for weeks. Right. And so when I finally saw that the Knicks beat the Charlotte Bobcats and Philly lost by, I think, 20 to 25 points in their game, and I knew that would be the Miami Heat, I knew that would be a very challenging series. But I know that a lot of fans have seen how well Mel has ended the season, and so how the Knicks do have one of the best benches in the NBA. But when you're playing a team like Miami, you're always going to have 3 stars against 1 star. So it's always going to be that type of mismatch, and Miami's showing it right now. And why they're up 3-0 is because we just cannot compete.
I would agree with that. And I mean, with the way New York kind of ended the season, everybody was really high on them, but it really has seemed like they've really imploded kind of in this series. They had the unfortunate thing with Shumpert blowing out his knee, and, he was by far their best perimeter defender, but, I mean, you had the situation with Amare and his hand injury after Game 2. And then, Carmelo, he's kind of even received some criticism with the way he's played. So, I mean, it really looks like not only is this a bad matchup for the Knicks, but it's really exposed some of their internal issues almost.
Yeah, it exposed all the Knicks' internal issues. But Will pointed out this was a bad matchup for the Knicks, It's hard to go 1-on-3. The Miami Heat have 3 of the top, 15, 20 players in the NBA. Yeah. Right. Stars take over when they matter most, and what happened tonight? Stars took over. Game was close. Knicks were up, 11 points at some time?
Yeah.
They couldn't capitalize. They were up, I think, 40-28 or 40-29 at one point.
Mm-hmm.
They go to the half only up 40-36. That right there just says everything about the Knicks and everything about the Heat, that the Knicks, at this point in time, at this level of competition, just aren't there yet. And the Heat, who have experienced defeat last year and know what it takes to get to that point again, they're just doing what they're supposed to do.
Well, I mean, to kind of touch on that, what do you think they need moving forward, speaking of the Knicks?
And the Knicks?
Yeah.
What don't they need? I mean, they need players to be healthy. First of all, they need everyone to be healthy. They need everyone to be on the same page. They need where do I start, honestly? Jeremy Lin lost to him hurt, obviously. Shump, his injury definitely hit the Knicks hard because there's no perimeter defense for the Knicks right now.
Right.
And Fields kind of does the job, but he can't sustain it as long as Shumpert. Neither does J.R. Smith. I like his intensity, but he plays a little too, he doesn't play smart sometimes. He plays hard, not smart.
Yeah.
So he commits stupid fouls. You know how many 3-point, times he fouled someone taking a 3-point shot during the season?
Yeah.
And then he just runs into people now. It's like, yo, come on, JR, relax, please. But they need a lot. They need more experience. They need more time together to mesh. I don't know.
But the thing is with the roster is the fact that there's no salary flexibility. Like, thanks to Melo and Amare, he's probably pretty much maxing out. And Landry Fields' contract is up, and you have to sign him if you want him. You have to get Jeremy Lin, J.R. Smith, Baron Davis. This roster is going to look different again going into next year. If you want to talk against Steve Nash, and we need another extra big guy, and all of this stuff. We're going to
Kevin Garnett will be out there.
Probably new team.
That's Kevin Garnett will be out there, just a thought. But like you said, too much. We're going to have to undoubtedly the next 4th different team next year?
Yeah.
In only 2 seasons?
And possibly a different coach. I mean,
possibly you're absolutely right, different coach.
So
Mike Woodson
that Woodson situation needs to get figured out.
Right.
There's been rumors about them going after Phil Jackson too.
Right. If the Knicks get swept, if Phil Jackson says I'm going to coach the Knicks, then you say sorry, Mike, move over. Phil Jackson's head coach.
Right.
That's the only way I see Mike Woodson. I don't know. I love Mike Woodson as a head coach, but he had failures with the Hawks too. So it's like I don't know. Like he did his thing. He did what he could do with the Knicks regular season 18-6. I'm not discounting that. I love him as a head coach, but with this roster and this team, I don't know going forward, especially if the Knicks have championship aspirations, because every year in New York you have to win the title, right?
Right.
Title or bust, no matter what team you put out there.
Right.
Which is too much expectations.
Right.
So with this team that they have, maybe they need to go get a better coach.
My different thing is that Mike Woodson, the 3 years that he's been with the Atlanta Hawks, he's always get blown out pretty much each year that he plays with the Atlanta Hawks.
Right.
And you have Carmelo Anthony, whose winning percentage is 31% in the playoffs. That's his winning percentage. That's not good chemistry to have. That to be your coach and that to be your best player. So I don't know. People want to kill Amare Stoudemire for what he did. He's frustrated, and I mean, I guess we see why he's frustrated, because the Knicks' offense is a debacle right now. You got Melo in today's game. You got Melo going 7 for 23. You got J.R. Smith going 5 for 18. I mean,
all jump shots.
Win games
both
like
of them. All jump shots.
Yeah. And if I
not
look at
enough
the plus minus, if you look at the plus minus, the Knicks have Melo got a plus minus of -25. Novak got a 22, -22. Chandler -14. Baron Davis -16. I mean, Landry Fields got -15. But you look at the Heat. Almost everybody in the Heat has pluses. Like almost everybody on that team has pluses. Starting with Haslam with 13, LeBron with plus 23. Bosh got plus 27. Chalmers got plus 28. Wade got plus 26. I mean, they're balling right now, and they're showing why they're the best team in the league.
Absolutely.
I mean, I definitely have to agree with that. I mean, I think, the second half of the season almost looked like they kind of sleptwalked through it a little bit, and I mean, as soon as the playoffs started, it looked like they had a really different focus in Game 1. Starting from Game 1. And they really made a statement throughout these 3 games. And especially like when you mentioned them being down by 11, I think it might have even been around 2 minutes left in the half.
Yeah, it was.
Quick 7-zip run. I mean, that was the game right there.
That was it. That decided the game. And then the Knicks were still up. That decided the game. Mentally, he just got back into it.
Yep. So, well, I know me. I could probably spend, the whole show talking about Miami or the Knicks. I mean, it's definitely 2 polarizing teams in the NBA. But I mean, let's kind of move on. Let's briefly touch on the second game here.
Right.
We got Oklahoma City and Dallas, and really, when you look at this series, the first 2 games, they really come down to last last second shots, last possession.
Mm-hmm.
But it really seems like the Thunder, going back to Dallas, they seem intent to get a win on Dallas' home court. What do you guys think on really either one of these teams?
If I'm Dallas, I'd be upset. I'm sorry. Cool.
No, go ahead. I'm listening. Go ahead.
If I'm Dallas, I would have been highly upset with myself and my team that we just left OKC down 0-2. Because those games were not only winnable, they had them in the bag, and the cat just slipped out in the bottom some way, somehow. And this is without Kevin Durant shooting his best.
Yeah.
Now they're at halftime with OKC up 10, and Durant is shooting lights out. So if I'm Dallas, that's how the first two games. You got to look at it positively because you did lose by a combined 4 points.
Right.
So you were in the game, and you had, a 16-point deficit game 2, made that up, took the lead at 1 point.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're Dallas, you had hold your head on that, but you also have to look at where you lost the game and how.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I look at this Oklahoma City team, man. I can't see this team going in the. I definitely don't see them going to the finals, and I definitely, if they even make it to the conference finals, I see them struggling because they just struggle as a team to score. Like it's to me, they got 3 perimeter players that can get their own shot, but but all 3 of those guys never play well at the same time that I can remember. Like Westbrook, no point guard in this NBA in the league could guard Westbrook, but in this game he's 3 for 11 right now. He played well game 2. Durant struggled. Now Westbrook is struggling, and Durant is playing well. You can't really have that type of play in the playoffs because you're going to get exposed. And right now, Durant has pretty much half their points. He has 21 of their points in the first half, and Dallas is like, look, the only thing about Dallas is that they struggle to score.
Yep.
That's been their MO. That's been their MO. So I don't know if they have enough offense in this round, but if Oklahoma City for the next round, I don't know if they're gonna get out of that next round.
Yeah, they got Lakers probably, or
Lakers probably.
Nuggets.
Yeah. If they play the Lakers, I was talking to Lawrence earlier. I picked Denver to beat the Lakers only because I love the transition game, and they have 3 7-footers. I think they could. I believe that Denver could definitely win 2 games in Denver. But if the Lakers do end up beating them, I think the Lakers are going to just destroy Oklahoma City.
Okay. Well,
I
mean, just to because y'all you said some interesting things there. I know as far as I'm concerned, I definitely agree with you in terms of Russell Westbrook. I mean, the guy is super athletic.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and nobody can really stay in front of this dude. The thing where I see he kind of struggles is, and why they don't seem to play. What am I trying to say? Why they don't seem to both have good games at the same time is I definitely think that when Durant has it going, I almost think that it's almost like Westbrook gets into his own head a little bit, and he's like, okay, I gotta get the ball to KD, and he almost takes his own self out of his own game. You've heard all the. I mean, it seems like that's been a running conversation on ESPN's First Take about how much Russell Westbrook shoots the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And, he's human. I'm quite sure he hears a lot of that. So, I mean, I really found it interesting that, he really carried them through the first 2 games. Mm-hmm. And, Kevin Durant still got his numbers, but he didn't shoot well. I really didn't, and, I didn't get a chance to really watch ESPN a lot, but I didn't really hear a lot of people, talking about Kevin Durant not shooting well.
Right.
In those first 2 games. However, if it had been flipped and Westbrook had shot poorly, it would have been all over ESPN. So
absolutely.
I definitely.
Why? I think it's because Kevin Durant is the shooter. So it's like if he takes solo shots and miss them, cool, whatever. We're content with that because Kevin Durant's supposed to do that. Russell Westbrook at the point guard position isn't supposed to take the same shots that Durant takes, or even a little bit more. It should be scaled back a little bit. I think that's what people are saying. Like,
right.
It's probably the reason people get at him the most. Because this is a jump shooting team, let's face it. Russell Westbrook, jump shooter. Durant, jump shooter. Harden, jump shooter. Sometimes they take it to the basket. I think they need to do that more because all three of those guys can easily beat their opponent off the dribble. Right. But a lot of times they settle for jump shots.
Exactly.
But at the end of the day, it just sums up Oklahoma City Thunder. They're not ready yet.
Yeah. And I have to agree with that. I mean,
I don't think they're ready yet.
I
Westbrook's
definitely
4th year in the league. Durant's 5th year in the league, I think. Harden's 3rd year. They're still kind of young.
Exactly. And I definitely, I definitely agree with what you said about Denver. I definitely like that transition. They don't really have when you look at their entire roster, they don't really have a lot of playoff experience, and I think that's why they struggled a lot in LA. Hopefully, because I can see them winning too in Denver as well. I mean, at least I hope they do. I'll admit I'm not a LA fan, so I would love to see them get two in Denver and really make this a series. But I mean, when you look across the board, in my opinion, at the Western Conference, is really not even about the seeding. To me, it's really more about matchups.
Right?
Mm-hmm. That's number one.
When you look at like I said, the Dallas OKC, Dallas could have easily taken either one of those two games, and then the 6th seed is supposed to be the lesser team. So I mean, it's really about matchups. So if OKC gets past this series, and like you said, they match up against LA, I mean, it's really going to be tough for them because although when you look at Kobe, he is more of a jump shooter now. He finds a way to get to the line when he needs to, and that puts a lot of pressure on their defense, and that's something that Durant and Westbrook haven't really. Well, I can't really say that because Durant, he can get to the line 10 times easily, but I mean, when Kobe doesn't have his game going, he'll find a way to get to the line to get himself into a rhythm. Sometimes when Kevin Durant struggles, you don't really see him being as aggressive getting to the line to get himself going. And I think that's where you can see the difference in the two. And when you look at Ron Artest, Metta World Peace, possibly coming back for that series, he's always giving good fits. So,
and that's the biggest thing for me is when Ron Artest, the reason why I said Denver was going to beat the Lakers because of Ron Artest not being there. When the Lakers ended the season, that boy was averaging close to 15 points a game. He was their fourth leading scorer. Now, in the first two games against Denver, you've seen them shoot, I think they shot over 50% in both games. And you got guys like Jordan Hill getting 10 rebounds a game in game 2, and you got Devin Ebert going 13 for his first half points in the first game. I'm thinking they go on the road, you probably won't even hear their names. And that's when Denver, with their deepest roster, they're going to be able to run up and down, and they might end up blowing out the Lakers the first game. I believe that. I could see that happening.
And Gasol can disappear at any point. I mean,
you're right about that.
That's what I say.
He can disappear.
That's the exact same thing I said, man.
That's what leads me to whatchamacallit, with Bynum. Can Bynum be your number 2 guy? Do you really trust him to be your number 2 guy?
I think I can right now, the way he's been balling this year. And he has to be your number 2 guy right now in this series because that's where their advantage is, on the inside. No one can guard him.
And he might shoot a 3.
So they got to keep going.
He might shoot a 3 out of nowhere. I don't trust that man.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm really torn because between he's had knee injuries, so I mean, he stayed healthy this year, but there's always a possibility of that there. And like you said, I mean, the whole situation with him shooting the 3, I mean, he could mentally disappear.
Exactly.
Too. So, and
I think when he knows
why
he's this important, though, he's not going to disappear.
Okay.
He disappears.
I mean, I can see that.
He's down and out, and I guess loses. I don't know. That's just my assessment.
I mean, I can definitely see that because he has been more consistent this year than any other year, in my opinion. So, I mean, I definitely can see that. It's just, it's still like
it's a different situation. It is the playoffs.
Right. So
I remember when he did the burial last year. So
exactly.
That's so true.
And
I totally forgot about that.
So anything can happen with Bynum.
Yeah.
I hope it's for the better.
Absolutely. And I mean, throughout all this talk, we talked a lot about Miami. We talked a lot about, Oklahoma City, L.A. But San Antonio is still sitting there as the number 1 seed. And basically just blew the doors off of Utah the first 2 games.
Steamrolled Utah,
and
110 points average in 2 games.
Exactly. So, I mean, they're still seemingly waiting there for, you look at that Memphis Clippers series, and that seems like that's going to go back and forth.
Yeah,
they could be sitting there. Yeah,
we'll think otherwise, but I believe.
Yeah. I mean, and San Antonio will be sitting there waiting, resting up. The older team
they're going 4 straight.
Oh, this would be like, the best thing for San Antonio was to get Utah in the first round and for Memphis to play OKC in the first round. I mean, Memphis to play the Clippers because they're going to beat each other up. It's going to be a long series. So fan in while they get their rest, they go watch these young teams beat each other up.
Yep.
The old guys can heal.
Now,
they know when that's is.
But you still have that possibility of them possibly meeting Memphis again in that second round. And again, we talked about matchups. That's a tough matchup still for San Antonio.
That will be their toughest matchup, Memphis. If they can get
they'll be ready this time around.
They'll be ready to
play Spurs this time around.
They're more rested.
I think that's part of the reason why I picked the Clippers to beat Memphis because Zach Randolph is still injured. He's not playing like he did last year. Like last year, he was dominating. But this year, Blake Griffin is dominating him. And I feel like Chris Paul is the best player in that series. And I always have a thing. I told Lawrence this before. Like, if you have the best player, I'm pretty much going to pick you in that series. And
that doesn't
Chris
work
Paul, man. He's a ball.
He is. The thing that worries me sometimes is he can get – I like it when he's more aggressive on the offensive end. When he falls more into that facilitator role, that's when his teams can kind of struggle a little bit. When he's more aggressive on the offensive end as a scorer, I mean, his teams are tough to beat. Because, I mean, I feel like last year, when he was playing with the Hornets and they matched up against L.A., if he had been more aggressive, they could have beat him.
He had to.
So,
I mean, epic triple-doubles against them last year.
Yeah. So, when he's more aggressive on the offensive end, I would agree with you. I would definitely pick the Clippers, but and they're struggling with their injuries. Losing Caron Butler. So that series is gonna. I think it's gonna go a long ways. I think it's gonna be 7 games, and like you said, San Antonio's gonna be sitting there waiting on them to beat each other up.
And they're deep, so they're good. They're waiting. Yep. They're gonna be waiting.
Yeah. So I think the problem with the Clippers. My fault. I think the problem with the Clippers is that Chris Paul is their best player, but he is also their point guard. So he now has to find the mix because if he doesn't create for himself or others, no one else can do it the way he does. They can't. Blake is, as talented as he is, he's not really that talented. He doesn't have that much skill. He can't shoot the jump shot yet. He can do but so much on offense. Like, he can't create his own or create for other people, so they don't really have to send a double team to him, Mm-hmm. And DeAndre Jordan, come on. He only gets dunks off lobs. I think it's like one jump shot outside the rim.
He got $40 million to dunk.
Exactly.
But that boy's an interior defensive player. Just like Chandler is for them.
He will do that.
He'll throw some shots.
Yeah.
I think Chris Paul has to do too much, especially in this series. Right. Memphis can counter it. They got players from every position. And they got 6 man, 1 male. They're deep teams.
That's the thing, because it was clutch when they picked up Nick Young, because Nick Young was off his bench and he is just dropping buckets.
I agree. That game was crazy.
Mo Williams is like, okay, I could play some point guard now instead of being like the Vinnie Johnson of this team, the six man, this thing scoring. So he'd be coming in at times to take Chris Paul, and Mo Williams and Nick Young is in that backcourt. I'm just like, oh my God, you got two guys that can create their own shot. They could score.
I like
now,
when Bledsoe was in the backcourt.
Oh yeah.
I love Eric Bledsoe.
Yeah, he's tough too. So, I mean, who do y'all see getting out of the Western Conference too? You know.
Oh man, I said the Spurs.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd go with Spurs too. It really depends on their matchups, though.
Right.
But I would ultimately, if I had to say it today, I would go with San Antonio.
Yeah, and I would tend to agree. Like I said, I still do think it boils down to the matchups. But you know, I mean, the way they're playing, you know, they've made some additions to their roster. They've gotten deeper. You know, I would have to pick them too, and you know, I probably see them. The East has kind of opened up for Miami. You know, you've got injuries to Derrick Rose. You know, I mean, it's really opened up for them. So, I mean, I would see a San Antonio-Miami matchup in the finals.
You know, it's funny. I've been hearing that for the past few days after Derrick Rose got hurt. When I was doing my picking, I didn't even pick the Chicago Bulls to get out of the second round.
Okay.
Because they had Boston there waiting for them.
Yeah.
And I don't know if the Bulls could beat Boston. I have a hard time believing that the Bulls could really beat Boston because, as you see right now when they're playing Philly, Derrick Rose is out, and Derrick Rose is not a defensive stalwart. So when you see those guards of Philly did what they did in Game 2, I mean, you can't say, oh, they're doing that because Derrick Rose is not there. That's not true.
No, of course not.
I see Lou Williams catching alley-oops in the half-court set. I'm like, what is going on
that was crazy.
I always had my reservations for the Bulls. I always said the Bulls will not make it out of the second round if they get out of the first round. Now, definitely, I told a friend of mine, I said, after this Derrick Rose injury, the Bulls will either go to the finals or they'll lose in the first round. There's no in-between.
One or the other, right? Yeah.
It's only one or the other because they played so well without Rose during the season. Everybody just
that
everybody was
gold.
touching the basketball. And guys are averaging like 7 guys in double figures and stuff like that. But now it's either the first round or the finals. In the first round, they're playing a team that is just as scrappy as they are. So it kind of evens out now.
And Game 2 gave them the confidence they needed to really win this series.
That's all they needed.
Yeah.
But if you're the Bulls in Game 3, you try to control the tempo. That's why you lost Game 2. That's why you lost that big lead. Control the you don't have Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose was that guy that could control the tempo, and when he had to go fast, he could go fast. They don't have that guy anymore. Derrick Rose is one of the best, if not the best, player in transition in the NBA.
Yeah, he's a one-man fast break.
You don't stand a chance against Philly because that's all Philly wants to do is play in transition.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's true.
But it's going to be hard for them to do that with Philly with that confidence that they got in Game 2.
Right, exactly. And they're going back to Philly Game 3. If I'm the Bulls, I got to slow the game down.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think they can. I think they've shown that they can bounce back from bad losses. This is going to hurt more without Derrick Rose, so it's be an even tougher task. But I think they can.
Well,
they're not going to the finals. I don't see them going past Boston. So even if they make it to the next round, not without Rose.
So it sounds like a Miami-Boston Conference Finals matchup.
Maybe the rematch.
Give Boston a shot.
You know what? That's Miami's worst nightmare. I mean, in the East. If anyone's going to stand in Miami's way, it's Boston.
I
could agree with that because Rondo's not hurt and he's playing.
But he got hurt in that series, so you know. And Ray Allen might be back by then. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Boston will be at full strength. And Kevin Garnett playing center, that's worked for Boston. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Rondo was definitely going to be a tough matchup. But, I mean, I tell you, if Thomas continues to play like he's been playing, I'm not saying he could really even out the matchup, but maybe he could close that gap in that advantage that Boston has at that point guard position. And I mean, in my opinion, I think that's all they really need. If they get solid series from Wade and LeBron, If Chalmers can just close that gap in Boston's advantage at the point guard position, I mean that could get them over the top.
Yep. The Chalmers does that. It's definitely
going to be more difficult.
He does have
more difficult for him to get it off because Rondo will be guarding him. You know, it's like someone that can really play defense. No Baron Davis. You know, no Landry Fields. You know, someone that can play defense is going to be guarding him. So Rondo is one of the best perimeter defenders we have in the league. So he'll make it tough. And Avery Bradley, when he comes out, you know, Avery Bradley's in. He's the best on-ball defender in the NBA today. So it won't be easy.
It definitely won't. But I don't know. I definitely think Miami's on more of a mission this year, even more so than they were last year. So.
Absolutely.
They are. Absolutely. LeBron's like, fourth quarter, I'm tired of these fourth quarter jokes. I'm going to drop 17 in the third quarter. I mean, the fourth quarter of this game today, and just call it a day. Like, it's amazing how he just turned it on like that.
Yeah, he did. And the crazy part about it is the critics won't even mention anything about it.
No, of course not. Yep.
No. They'll be like, it's the Knicks.
Yeah.
Oh, what was
they'll turn the other cheek.
Do it to somebody else.
Yeah. Well, I tell you guys, I mean, I've definitely enjoyed you guys being on the show. And we it's only a 30-minute show, so we got to go ahead and close up shop here. But, I definitely enjoy having you guys on. And I mean, whenever y'all can, the invitation is always open. Definitely
really appreciate it, man.
Yeah, no problem.
Thanks,
definitely look to have you guys
been a pleasure.
on. More as the playoffs, get deeper and deeper. So, with that being said, we'll go ahead and close up shop. And like I said, definitely appreciate having you guys on. Look forward to having you guys on again.
No problem,
great,
man.
Thanks. We'll definitely be back on. Thanks a lot.
All right.
Appreciate it, man.
All right.
See you later.
All right.
Definitely.